too much. Top of the evening, top of the evening. Hope everyone is well. It is the 5th of November 2025, and I'm going to do a series based on trading. I'm a funded trader. I actually need to write that in my bio. But I think on my bio it is written that I'm a trader. Been trading for quite some time now. This is my first year being profitable and be able to see actual results after, I would say, roughly 5 years. The end of this year, it will be 5 years that I started trading. So this series basically is I'm going to show people how to take a small funded account into getting a big one. A lot of mistakes that I see now is that everyone that has heard about a funded account or prop firms, they want to jump into the big accounts when they still lack consistency, risk management. That's the best one, I think. And your psychology, it's just terrible. And one thing I've learned is whether or not you have a £10,000 account, 20,000, 100,000, if you are not consistent and disciplined, even on the weeks where you are losing, you will not be profitable, no matter how big the account is. Now, it is also a psychological thing because a 10,000, 100,000 percentages are different, but it doesn't beat away from the fact that it's still in percentages. The number one thing that you need to do is work in percentages. Have a risk reward ratio. Try to have a consistent one, at least one where you like, from here, I secure my profit. So for me, it's a 1 to 4. Once I've reached the word 1 to 4, I'll move my stop loss into that TP and then let the market run into the next TP. Knowing that whether it hits the next TP or my old TP, I would have secured that 1 to 4 risk reward ratio, 1:4. So the series, what I'm going to do is I am going to take a $5,000 account from Funded Next, and then I am also going to withdraw from that account and buy $100,000 account. Because why? If I'm consistent enough in the 5,000 in terms of risk management, risk reward ratio, then I can copy paste the same thing on bigger accounts. What tends to happen sometimes is that we end up stressing so much when we lose because we look at the number instead of the percent. So every single week I'll be documenting every single journey, every single trade that I take so that you guys can see the trades that I take. So let me just show you guys exactly what I'll be trading. So on my watch list, on my trading view, I have about 4 to 5 things that I trade. But my main two, if I'm going to be honest, would be let's see, it would be if I go here, okay, just excuse that. So this is my watch window. Still a bit slow. Just set Control R. Okay. So on my watch window, I have roughly four. The fifth one I just recently installed or recently put onto my watch list, which is NASDAQ. Now, I don't trade NASDAQ, but these days it's been looking quite clean in terms of analysis. So my main four would be US30, it would be gold, it would be USD CAD, and then Euro USD. All right, let me just move that up. The reason why you're seeing XRP is because I like to track it, because I like to invest in it. So these are my um, 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs that I'll be trading. And also recently has been NASDAQ that I've been analyzing. And just by looking at my zones, NASDAQ tends to be respecting them very much so. So with that, I'm probably going to focus on NASDAQ 2, US30. Also, just need to tweak and fix and update. But it looks like I also just need to update my US30. My Euro USD has been trading quite nice. I had this sell before, and well, I predicted the sell. And yeah, let's just clear some lines, show you guys exactly what I'm seeing here, right? So overall, the market has been kind of bearish for a while, right? So I'd say maybe from the 18th of September until current date, it's been bearish. A lot of series of lower highs, lower lows. So this was a higher low, higher high. Then we came back, broke structure, higher low, lower low, sorry, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. See, we're failing to break. So just need to update that just to make it a bit better. You know, sometimes I do like to use trend lines and just to see how they be working. But right now it seems like that is useless. Just remove that, remove that, remove that. Okay, here we go. Right, we can copy this and put a clone it, drag. So you guys can see the channel, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and lower low. So right now we are currently at we're currently going towards a very psychological level. So this is how I normally analyze my currencies, right? First of all, I always move down to the 1 hour time frame. For me, the 1 hour time frame is a bit more clearer. Yes, I look at the 4 hour and the other ones just to check direction. But as you can see, we've been on a downtrend the whole week for a long time, also about 2 months, right? And if you check here, you know, always look to the left. If you look to the left, you can see we had a strong move, a lot of imbalance here, but it was filled. But it's still an area to look at before entering. So I'm going to be looking around this area to see what the market is doing. Maybe if I'd like, also check the 2 hours just to see. But normally, in most cases, I like to use the 1 hour just to check structure. But I will be checking what will be happening here, right? And then, yeah, so normally when I trade currencies, the first thing I look for on the 1 hour time frame would be my demand and supply zones, right? Supply zones. That's what I'll be looking for. Number two, within that, um, so example, right, it's 1 hour. Let's just say I was looking to sell, right? Let's just use the previous um, momentum, right? So for me, the way I identify my supply and demand zones is if it's a downtrend, I need three bearish candlesticks. So I'll have one, two, three. Then the first or the last bullish candlestick, that is where I would draw a zone and call it my demand zone, right? Supply and demand. Or what people like to call it support and resistance, right? So within here, the next thing I would look for a favorable gap within the 15 minutes, right? Sometimes this method doesn't work, sometimes it works, but I would rather follow it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you see, at this point, if the market had recently came up here, this would have been my point of interest. Actually, it was respected. See that fair value gap there? Fair value gap was respected. If you can see, was respected, tested, and then dropped. So even if your TP would have been down here based on the left hand side of the chart, you would have hit TP, right? So that's how I do it. 1 hour, support and demand, support and resistance. I look at the daily trend, the structure, and then from there, 15 minutes fair value gap, and that's where I would enter. So right now, there's nothing for me on Euro USD, so I'm not really gonna fixate too much on it because this would have been the last point where I would have entered, or maybe even here, because I've got one, two, three, last candlestick, respected, sell, right? So right now, I still think it might drop, but we're gonna leave for now. This method normally works perfectly with USD CAD. Um, you see, even with USD CAD, USD CAD has been bullish, right? Has been bullish for some time now. And see, like I said, I always use the left. I always use the left, and it looks like USD CAD is going to be bullish for a while. So I'm gonna wait for a retest somewhere here before shooting up, right? So this is how I would draw even my TPs, right? This is where even my TPs would be drawn if I look towards the left hand side, right? If I look to the left hand side where the market is at, right? Let's just do that. You can see. So, right, first TP, right? You've got one, two, three. Then you've got this long bullish candlestick. Right? You draw that big baby all the way. Let's just move that to the 4 hour. Move all of that to this side. In fact, TP would have been hit already, but I still think we are bullish. So the fact that it's already hit, okay, I also just need to change the color of this to green. I think it was green. Perfect. That's the green, right? Which is good. So that's how I draw. Where would my next TP be? My next TP. So the nice thing about your support and resistance, they are also your TPs. If you don't use things like the Fibonacci, etc., etc., you just kind of focus on these things, right? So I wouldn't use this because it's 1, 2, then it's a bullish. I wouldn't use that as a candlestick, as a TP. Another TP will be somewhere here. See 1, 2, 3. So that's another zone. So now I have TP1, TP2 to take me far, right? I can even just put a line. Basically, I can always just fix this when I get there, right? Two lines to just draw the zones. And I can tell within these zones there are favorite gaps that were fulfilled before the market dropped. There's many on the left hand side. So that's how I normally do it, right? So since we are in a bullish momentum, right, for me, there's no entry right now. This is a very strong bullish movement the whole week. The market has been bullish, so I need a retracement before entering for a buy, right? So 1 hour, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, right? These are all momentum candlesticks. Even if you didn't want to use this as your third momentum, you've got a nice bullish candlestick here, pin bar, and a continuation pattern. So you can even use the last blue candlestick, right, as your um, support structure. But let's just use the last bearish candlestick. So like this, all right? Then move down to the 15, right? So in the 15, you can see we have, oof, it was beautiful actually. It was respected. We broke it, came back to retest, right? So even with the fair value gap, remember it doesn't have to fulfill the whole fair value gap. It just needs to fulfill the one. It just has to fulfill the gap. It doesn't have to be all of it. Even if it's just a small wick and it moves up, that gap is filled, right? So even here, I can't do much now because this has been respected. So I look for the next um, entry point, right? Look for the next entry point, and can't really do. You saw guys on the 15-minute time frame, all of this has been taken. So where's the next entry point? You've got 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Those are very strong bullish candlesticks. So this bearish pin bar would be your next support or demand. Supply, demand. I always mix it up. So I'm just gonna stick to support and resistance, right? And bam, we have ourselves a fair value gap right over here. See, my strategy is pretty much simple because I also apply it also applied with gold, but slightly different with gold. I'm just gonna make it yellow because that is my entry point, right? So even if I was to enter now, so I also, one thing about me is I like to use buy limits. I use buy limits and sell limits. Not really a fan of manual executions. And for me, I like my stop loss to be, so I wouldn't put it like directly here. So this is where you've got three candlesticks here, one, two, three. Here's your favorite gap. I wouldn't put it here. I'll put it at the bottom of my support structure, just a few pips underneath, just to let it breathe, right? And then TP would be here. And I can tell you now, if I was to go on the 15-minute time frame, they are fair value gaps here. So even if I decide to ignore this and go to here at the top, I can always scale in and just scale in, enter, and I do the same thing over and over. So once the market has formed a nice reversal pattern here, so right, because right now you can see it's just forming a series of higher highs, higher lows. You can uh, see, so expecting some drop to happen tomorrow, play around, and then start shooting up again. And my TP definitely, once it even gets to 1 to 4, right? Once it even gets there, I'm gonna move my stops to even. So once we get to 1 to 4, which is around here, and then I see the movement move up and more, I'm securing my profits there in the trade run. So this is my one of my interested uh, trades I might take tomorrow. Now, so now I'll more or less put USD CAD at the top because it's forming a more clearer structure for me to actually, entertain and trade. Then gold obviously is my favorite. It's one of my favorites. So with gold, it's a bit different, right? I don't normally trade it the same. So with gold is I do have my psychological levels. We've got my monthly zones, my weekly zones, and gold tends to respect that, right? So right now, gold has been on a bearish momentum after very strong bullish momentum for a while. We are now facing a minor bearish season before we go back up. So even here, right, I don't use the 4 hour structures, I use 1 hour, but you guys can see patterns, right? Double top, respected well. You've got a nice bearish triangle over here, or bearish pennant, I think that's called. So same thing here, down movement, high, lower low, lower high, failed to break. See, if we had broken straight up, then I can believe it's a change of structure where we would have had a right shoulder, it would have been an inverted head and shoulder, but it's not. So you can see right now is push the upside, down, up. We failed to break structure, pushing down again, broke my trend line. So we haven't fulfilled the whole movement. So now I get to scale in. So if USD CAD is mostly going up, then it's easier for me to check where gold is going to be shooting, right? I keep the structure, see? So I use 1 hour to draw my supports and resistance zones. And I don't use the same method, right? In terms of currencies where I need three bullish candlesticks and then I use the last one. With here, I need strong zones that are clear to see that this is your higher high, this is your higher low, whatever. So this is your lower low. You can clearly see, right? And we have respected that very well. A few fake outs, but we failed, right? So I know this is a strong zone and we haven't broken it, right? So let's just say I don't want to use it. I can always just use the next current zone, right, on the 1 hour. You can see even if I just use bodies, you can see yourself. And then also change it to green, right? So my area of interest would be somewhere here. I can tell you now, there's a fair value gap somewhere here hanging around. So with gold, I use 1 hour to draw my support and resistance, and my entry points will always be on the 5 minute time frame. So 5 minute time frame, I know there are gaps. These gaps work all the time. Fair value gaps work all the time. Gap respected, gap respected, came back to retest the gap again before dropping, right? So ideally, it's been respecting these zones. In fact, I think there was a zone I drew earlier this morning. It already came to retest it. So it's very much so easy for me to just look for the next structure. So with gold is before you even enter on the 5 minute, make sure the 1 hour is clear enough for you to enter. So all these zones have been respected in terms of 5 minutes. So I will not entertain them as of yet, right? I'll look for the next area of interest, and it looks like we have a gap. So the more you practice on seeing these gaps, so you've got fair value gaps and inverse. And inverse fair value gap, I will show you guys how it works, right? So respected. Here's the fair value gap that hasn't been tested yet. So remember, even when you have your fair value gaps, you still have um, you're gonna still have the market push, and before it pushes, then it's gonna do a lot of fake outs where it looks like it's broken your fair value gap before shooting up. You want to keep trading as simple as possible. And once the movement has been respected and done, do not force the trade, right? I'm going to make this yellow because it's going to be where I will enter for a short, right? Let's just say I do decide to enter for a short area of interest. See, with gold, I don't play games. So 5 minutes. Sometimes I do let my stop loss breathe a bit because I work with limits, and gold has tendencies to do a lot of fake outs. So this for me is okay because no matter how big the pips are and everything, with MT5, I'm always able to see how much I am uh, risking. So you see, just a basic movement, right? Just a basic movement. It might look like a lot, but this is a 1 to 12. So even if you didn't want to use a 1 to 12, and you trade to the next, that's a 1 to 6 right there, right? 1 to 6.4 or 7, sorry. You can even trade to the next fair value gap that wasn't respected when the market was doing a minor bullish trend or a retracement. See? So major zones here, right here, right at the top. And that still will give you a beautiful 1:7. Very much so simple, straight to the point. I like that. So gold, I'm also gonna put at the top as second, and then Nasdaq. So Nasdaq, I haven't recently traded it, but I've been analyzing it, and it looks like it's working. So Nasdaq, I'm still not going to enter anything as of yet. I'm still kind of just monitoring how it works before I enter it. But I'm interested because when it comes to my zones, my psychological zones that I drew, um, it worked perfectly, right? So monthly, weekly. So you guys can also do the same thing. What you want to do when you draw these zones, especially for Nasdaq and US 30, you want to draw them on a daily time frame, right? You want to start with the daily, right? Start with the low. For example, I use this low, right? So I used this low as my first zone, and then I used this as my second zone. So resistance, major zones where you see the market rejecting. Then from there, once you do that, you calculate how many pips it is from here to here, which I think is around 533,1 pips. And then you just copy paste, and then the blue line you just divide the distance by two, and you get your middle zone. And from there, when you zoom in, the market just tends to respect them very well. See, tap tap, double bottom, and it's going up, right? And in most cases, US 30, Nasdaq will go together, and it will always oppose gold, so on and so forth, right? Let's just check if everything's still good and running. Is everyone still good? Nice. Okay, that is good, right? Okay. let's move on, right? So now we are just want to show you guys. Um, okay, let's just say okay. Just want to show you guys that I am still funded and I did buy the account. So I don't want anyone thinking that I didn't buy accounts. I'm actually going to do this account with you. I haven't started it or traded it as of yet. So I'm just going to go to my account. And if you guys want to practice and do all these things, we do have Funded Next does have, okay, I don't know what's wrong. That normally doesn't happen. Uh, okay, there we go. I think it's just taking a bit of time to load, right? Counts. Let's just hit filter. Let's just say Stella. Okay, I do not know what's going on. Uh, might be the network. I'm not sure what's really going on. So let's just hold it on, hold it on. So in the meantime, while that's happening, let's go to payouts. See, I've had my different payouts just to show you guys that I've also made some of the payouts, right? Uh, very small amounts, right? But throughout this, I learned a lot. I could have maximized more, yet I still have obviously a tough time. So this is the 5,000, right? I literally have one trade left in this. I'm going to use this on an NFP to see if I can revive this account. I've withdrawn twice from it, two withdrawals that you guys saw now. But this is where my big focus is on with you guys because I want to show you guys. Okay, I don't know what this important notice is. Okay, no, that's fine. So here you guys go. Obviously, you guys can't see my password, but my login details, initial balance 5,000, Stellar. So the only different thing I added here, right? That's the thing with Funded Next is I don't want minimum trading days because if I have a good trade tomorrow on gold or USD CAD, I can finish phase one within one trade, risking 1% with a 1:8 risk reward, right? And I'll get my 400, I think it's about $400 if I'm not mistaken, which is very much so doable with gold tomorrow, and I'll be done. I can even finish both phases in one day and then start trading. So you guys can see zero trades, nothing has been set, of course. So can't really see my profit floating trading days. I haven't started. Profit is $400. Daily loss is $200, which is oof, I think 4%. This is 4%. This is 8%. And then minimum I have to make is 8%. So these are my stats. And just so that you guys can know that I have it, see on my phone over here. Just go to the account. Okay, you guys can see. I don't know if you guys can see proper, but it's right there. Funded next, fully funded, trade. The balance is still on 5,000. I don't know if maybe the screen is a bit blurry. Let's try and wipe that up. But yeah, there you go. There you go. Zero trades, no history, no history. Just straight up zeros and zeros. But we will start taking trades soon. So you'll see. I think gold is closer, but whichever one gives me the best trade, I will show you guys, document. I'm gonna track everything. So let's just say I do enter trades, whatever I do on my trading view, you guys will see. Sometimes I'll screen record with my phone and then make one giant video. It is a very long video that I made, but it's for people that really want to see that this thing is doable, you know. I'm not one of those traders that's going to hide things from you. I kind of just want to show you guys everything that is needed and you need to do. And yeah, guys, peace. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you guys soon.